you're gonna cry. I cried. It will punch you in the face. I take it all back. I would like to drop kick Meliodas, just occasionally. As you can see, I'm not in the office. I am in my bedroom, actually. I don't think I've shown a lot of you guys my actual room and like how it's set up and stuff. I think I showed it on Instagram like one time. The lighting is better in here, and so that's why I chose to film in here. I just like it better. I don't know. I feel like it's brighter. I think the office is very dark. The office works really well for stream, but for like actual YouTube videos, I don't know. I feel like more at like comfort in my bedroom. I don't know why. I don't know. That's weird, but yeah. So a while ago, it was my first YouTube video ever, like actual YouTube video, was anime recommendations. And that was back in summer of 2020, and it's been quite a while, 2 years since then. And I've watched a few more animes since then, and a lot of them are, so if you hear that in the back, it's because Saturn is playing with a pillow. And I decided that I should probably do an updated version, not with all the ones that I had before, but with some that I've watched recently, and kind of give you like a synopsis about it, put trigger warnings on stuff, so that way, I feel like that's something that's not very common, at least that I don't really see. And I think that that's something that's really important, especially when the anime is a heavier one. And I think I don't watch super heavy ones like AOT or anything like that, but I do watch ones that can be a bit triggering. I have a list of new ones that I've watched recently. I haven't watched too many, but I have watched some. Some of them are mainstream, some of them aren't. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new, you can subscribe and click the bell. That way every single time I post a new video, you'll get notified. I think I'm going to change the YouTube schedule to once every week, which is every Saturday. I think that that's a schedule that is good, that I can meet without disappointing you guys and being like, oh, I'm gonna post 3 times a week, and then I don't. A lot of stuff has changed since I used to post 3 times a week. We moved, we have different jobs. I lost my other job. My sister got a new job, and so just like a lot of new stuff has happened in our lives, and 3 times a week is just something that I can't meet anymore. I also stream like every single day. Not every single day, but I do stream a lot, usually Tuesday through Saturday, so it's hard to film really, because our YouTube videos used to be very intricate. Hard to film those in a week that's completely taken over by streaming, editing, and taking care of everything, and Nessa works like literally all the time. So yeah, there will still like be content coming out. I am definitely feeling more comfortable filming YouTube videos again. I think I kind of leaned away from it because of a lot of stuff that was happening in my personal life. I was going through a hard time basically, and it was hard to film YouTube videos and try and, you know. So there's Saturn. Anyways, I definitely do feel more comfortable now, so hopefully there will be more YouTube content coming out. I forgot how much I miss and love making content. I think my least favorite part is editing, but that's because I used to be an editor and I used to edit for like hours on end. Say hi, I'm Saturn. I have a list of anime. I wrote it down and everything that I am going to read and recommend to you. I will put trigger warnings for the shows at the end. I know sometimes hearing the trigger warnings for people can trigger them, so I want to make sure that you are aware that we're going into that part of the video. And I will like leave a little like thing that warns you that we're going into that, and then I'll set a time to when it ends because I don't want to trigger anyone during this video. But I do want people to be aware of what they're getting into, because I don't want to just be like, oh, this is so great, it's a wonderful show, let me recommend it to you, and I end up hurting you in some way. I know obviously it wouldn't be intentional. I know people don't do that intentionally, unless they do that intentionally, but I don't think a lot of people do. But I just want everyone to be aware, because I know that some things that trigger me don't necessarily trigger other people, and it's just something that I like everyone to be aware of before we get into it. Some of these are mainstream ones. I'm gonna give you a synopsis on some of them too, so that way if you like haven't watched any of the mainstream ones, you kind of know what it's about. Bean is trying to get out. So I'm actually gonna start with the ones I watched the most recently. Sasaki and Miyano is one that I watched recently, and I loved so much that I made an entire merch launch based on the characters. It is so amazing. Every time I watch this show, I feel like I'm watching it for the first time. The animation is beautiful. The characters are amazing. I love all of their personalities, how they're all so different but still are like connected in some way. I love the Secret Society of S. So basically, let me tell you a little bit about Sasaki and Miyano. It is a skateboarding anime, and it is about these 2 main characters, Reki and Longa. I think it's more so told though from Reki's point of view. I'm a Reki-kin, by the way, for anyone who's watched that. All my fellow Reki-kins were out here struggling. But basically, Reki, it is based in Okinawa, Japan. Oh, it's so beautiful. I'm so excited to tell you about it. It's based in Okinawa, Japan. A high school. He's a teenage boy. He's 17. Loves skateboarding. He works at this shop called Dope Sketch with manager Oka. There is this secret society called S, and basically what S is is it's competition sort of thing where literally in the middle of the night at midnight, people will all gather at this abandoned mine shaft and they will skate against each other, and they have like things that they call beef. That's what they call people who are competing against each other. They like have beef. So for instance, in the first episode, Reki has beef against Shadow. The characters in the show, like, and the background characters too, so the main characters are Longa and Reki, and then the other background characters who are still kind of main characters are Cherry, Joe, Adam, Tadashi, Shadow, and Manager Oka. And then obviously the other background characters are like Reki's mom, Reki's sister, Longa's mom, Adam's family, and things like that. It's about these skaters who are a part of the secret society called S that you cannot talk about outside of S. People have fake names that they use when they go to S, and they're like basically living double lives. They can be like S celebrities and no one else knows about them outside of this. Basically the story starts out with Longa moving to Okinawa. His mom decided to move back to her hometown, which is Okinawa, and that's how Longa and Reki meet. They end up being in the same class. Longa applies to a job at Cherry's calligraphy company and ends up getting turned down because he is 17 and Cherry can't hire a minor. Longa walks outside and next to it is Dope Sketch, and Reki is outside and his board is going down the hill, and Longa is looking for a job. He ends up meeting Reki, and Reki is like, you're in my class, and Longa is like, I don't remember, because he has a hard time remembering names and faces. But basically Longa ends up working at Dope Sketch and getting into S with Reki, and he becomes one of the absolutely most amazing skaters at S, and it kind of goes through their story. Longa used to be a snowboarder as well, and that's why he's like so good at skating. He ends up becoming an S celebrity, and it goes through their story, going against Adam and having beef against all these other people. There's some like found family themes, which I like. There's a little bit of romance between Longa and Reki. There is no heterosexual explanation for Longa and Reki, I would like to say. It's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend it. It's such a feel-good one, but if you end up being a Reki-kin, I would like to say that it is going to hurt you. Like, you're gonna cry. I cried. It will punch you in the face. Yep. But I do highly, highly, highly recommend it. It's super, super good. Also, if you are into like Ranga, which is Reki and Longa, there's this really good fanfiction that I'm actually currently rereading. It's called The First Time He Kissed a Boy. A lot of people in the Skate the Infinity fandom have heard about it. It's amazing. It's a love story between Longa and Reki, and it's so cute. Because I love this show so much, skate actually got me into skating again, because I used to I wasn't like amazing or anything. I used to skate a bit when I was younger. I had a friend teach me how to longboard when I was in middle school. I liked it a lot, but then I stopped because I didn't have friends anymore, and I got into it again, and it's super fun. And I actually painted Reki's skateboard, so if anyone recognizes this is his board. I mean, he has white wheels and I have pink ones because this is a Walmart skateboard, but I didn't paint the bottom of it. And we have Skate the Infinity merch, so if you would like to check it out on the shop, there is this design, which is the skateboard design. You can go check it out. The link's in my beacons. You can click it below and click the second tab that says Kavali Cosmos. That's the name of the shop. Thank you, Nachma, for coming up with that. But yeah, also there's a lot of Reki cosplay everywhere for me because I love him. Also, there will be more Reki. There will be Reki and Longa cosplay soon because I have a friend coming to stay with me. Anyways, that's about it for Skate the Infinity. If anyone wants to add anything in the comments about it, go ahead. I'm totally okay with that, and just like, you know, to let anyone know about any little extra things that they might need to be aware of before watching these shows. That's the one I've watched the most recently. The other one is Sasaki and Miyano. Now, my friend Emil kept recommending Sasaki and Miyano to me and was like, can you please watch it for me, Nikki? Can you please watch it? And I was like, I will, because they knew I would love it, and they were 100% right. Sasaki and Miyano is a boys love romance anime. I'm not a big romance anime person now. It kind of gives me anxiety, to be honest. I don't really like watching romance anime, but I'm so glad that I watched Sasaki and Miyano. So basically, let me explain what Sasaki and Miyano is about. They're 1 year apart, but they go to the same school. Miyano is a boys love enthusiast. He loves boys love manga, and he ends up recommending some to Sasaki, and Sasaki ends up liking it too, and basically they go back and forth with like sharing boys love stories and things like that, and Miyano keeps recommending and letting him borrow volumes and stuff like that, and throughout it they fall in love. Sasaki falls in love first, but Miyano falls in love harder. It's the cutest thing in the world. It's like he comes to terms with his sexuality, and he's just, it's such, I will tell you, it's such a wholesome anime. It's such an amazing love story. I was blushing the whole time. I was blushing. It was like, it's literally like if you took the definition of fluff and put it in anime, that's what Sasaki and Miyano is. It's the cutest thing in the world. I highly recommend it. So if anyone likes romance boys love, it's amazing. Okay, the one after that is Bungo Stray Dogs. I actually got a Bungo Stray Dogs tattoo. Obviously, if you watch my other YouTube videos, you know about that. It's on my rib cage. That's an exact scene from Bungo Stray Dogs. If you've ever seen it, you know what scene it is. It's really sad, and that was a scene I realized I can Atsushi, and I decided to get that tattooed on me because I loved it. So anyway, Bungo Stray Dogs is an anime about Atsushi Nakajima. A lot of people think that the main character is Dazai, but he is more of like a background kind of side character. If there could be two protagonists, I think it's about both of their stories, like about Atsushi and Dazai's story, because it does focus on Dazai a little bit, but I would say that Atsushi is more of the main character in the show. But anyway, it's about Atsushi Nakajima, who is an orphan. He was kicked out of his orphanage, meets Dazai because he was floating down a river, and Atsushi was like, I'm gonna rob this next guy because he's he's being chased by a tiger. Dazai threw himself in a river to unalive himself. Atsushi ends up saving him, and it's actually, there's a lot of comedic relief in the show, which I really like, but it does have a lot of heavy themes, so be aware of that. Atsushi realizes that he has an ability. There are people in this world there are some people in this world that have abilities, and basically it's like a superpower. For instance, Dazai can turn off anyone's ability, kind of like Aizawa's quirk. His ability is like nullification, so if he touches someone, it will nullify their ability and they can't use it anymore. Chuya defies gravity and controls gravity around him. It's really cool. Junichiro's ability is light snow, and it is an illusion ability. It is based off of real novelists. So like famous novelists from like all over the world. Obviously the main characters, the ones that are the famous novelists from Japan. So like Dazai Osamu, Atsushi Nakajima, Ryunosuke Akutagawa, Chuya Nakuhara, and they're based off of real people that were alive previously. None of them are alive now. And it even throws in some, in like one arc, the guild comes, and it's writers from America, like that are very popular in American literature. So like is it Scott Fitzgerald? So it's all based on real people, but they make their abilities be what their book was based on, or be what their book was about. So the name of their book is the name of their abilities. For instance, Atsushi Nakajima's famous book was Beast Beneath the Moonlight, and he can turn into a tiger underneath the moonlight. Dazai Osamu's was no longer human. His ability is called no longer human, and he nullifies people's ability. This one specifically is still coming out. The manga is, so we still have a lot to learn about them. It's a really, really good show. I like that it's based on real people in literature. I think that that's super freaking awesome. It was so cool when I found out. It goes through Atsushi's story and Dazai's past story and things like that, and basically there are two opposing agencies, hate each other. Atsushi ends up working for the armed detective agency with Dazai because Dazai recruits him, and Dazai kind of takes him under his wing and starts taking care of him, and is like one of the first people ever in his life to believe in him, which is so amazing because Atsushi has a lot of self-esteem issues. Relatable king. And then there's the Port Mafia. The Port Mafia is bad. What Chuya and Akutagawa and Mori and them, what they all work with, the port, but it's super, super amazing, and through it the armed detective agency and the port end up having to actually work together. Dude, nothing compares to this show. This show is absolutely phenomenal. Literally phenomenal. I love it so much. It's so great. So I hope that was a good synopsis. I'm trying to explain it without giving too many spoilers because I do have a spoiler quirk, and obviously I will tell you the trigger warnings at the end, so please be aware of those. But if it seems like the type of show for you, I highly recommend it. The case study of Vanitas. Case study of Vanitas is very steampunk, which I dig about it. I love the animation of it. I kind of love the style, the kind of feel of it. The case study of Vanitas is based around Noe, who is a vampire, and Vanitas, who is a vampire slayer. But there is this vampire called the Blue Moon Vampire.
Shout out to my poor memory, but Vanitas is a part of the Blue Moon Vampire clan, and they are said to strip vampires of their powers, but he actually just cures vampires who are cursed.
Vanitas doesn't do that. He just cures vampires from this like vampire curse, basically, because there are vampires who are just vibing and it's fine and they suck blood and they move on, but then there are vampires that are like deranged. Those are the ones Vanitas takes care of and kills them if he needs to, or just heals them and let them go back to being either a regular vampire. It's really cool. Vanitas is absolutely amazing. I love the feel of it and the way Vanitas and Noe meet, and they kind of end up being partners in crime. I have only gotten to season 1. I have not watched season 2 yet, but I do know what happens, but I have not watched season 2 yet. It's really, really good. It's very steampunk. Reminds me a bit of, if anyone had watched the first season of Legend of Korra, it's not like that, but the kind of feel of like Republic City and things like that, it's kind of like that, and I really enjoy that. I love the steampunk kind of look. It does go through like Noe's story and like Vanitas' story, and them kind of like taking on this like world together and like trying to cure all the vampires, and Vanitas' goal is to basically like cure all the vampires. Vanitas' backstory is pretty sad, so please be aware of that. Also, Vanitas and Noe are in love. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. The next one is, everyone knows this one, Haikyuu. If you haven't watched Haikyuu, why not? Okay, now here's the thing. I was like, I'm not gonna like Haikyuu. I don't like sports anime. I take it all back. Haikyuu is about Hinata Shoyo and Kageyama Tobio, and it is a volleyball anime. This is so different from every single sports anime I've seen. It's like so much better. I don't know. It's so good. So, well, I mean, I think a lot of the sports anime that's coming out recently is really good. I dig it. 10 out of 10. It's basically about the Karasuno volleyball team, and it goes through them like going through like finals and meeting other teams and meeting all these other characters. It's such a feel-good happy anime. I watch it whenever I'm sad. It just makes me feel better, and there's so many different characters, which I think is so cool and must have been so hard for the writers to do. There's like 20 different teams, and like all these characters have all these different personalities. It's super cool. So I highly recommend that. There is a lot of like volleyball game playing, and if you're not really into sports, maybe you won't really be into that. But for me personally, like, I'm not a huge sports person, but I do get into it when I'm watching the game happen in front of me, but I don't usually get into it when I'm watching anime. Like if I'm watching a sports anime, I can't really feel that feeling. But with this one you can, like, it sucks you in. I don't know. It's really good. It's also it's super funny, which I think is the comedic relief, at least in dubbed, is absolutely amazing. Highly recommend that one. Another one that I watched in summer of 2020 was Yuri on Ice. So Yuri on Ice is a ice skating anime. It's based on Yuri Katsuki and Victor is a amazing Russian ice skater, and Yuri has always looked up to him, and Victor ends up becoming Yuri's coach, and they fall in love. What else do you need? They fall in love. That's it for me. That's all I needed. Thank you for that. It is so good. It's 12 episodes. The one after this is Jujutsu Kaisen. So Jujutsu Kaisen is a story about Yuji Itadori, and he is a regular middle school, high school student. I think he was going into high school. He is really into horror stuff, and him and his friends in the horror club at his middle school end up finding this little box with a finger. Everyone's like, let's open it because it's wrapped up, and they're like, let's open it and see what's in it. And basically there are these people called sorcerers, and sorcerers can do jujutsu, hence Jujutsu Kaisen. Anyways, Megumi Fushiguro ends up going to the school because that's the finger that they're going to open is actually the finger of a king of curses, Sukuna. He is the most dangerous curse out there. There are, instead of like demons in this, they're called curses. And so there's like different levels of curses, different grades of curses, and different grades of sorcerers. Sukuna is like a like grade, what is it, like grade S sorcerer. He's like really, he's the literal king of curses. Gojo and Megumi end up going to the school because that's where they said that it was like buried, because Sukuna, like, they had them scattered everywhere, and they're looking for 20 fingers, and they have to find all these fingers. Okay, but here's the thing. The night that they were supposed to open it, Yuji's grandfather passes away, so he was unable to be there when his friends were opening the curse, because they were going to open it like late at night in the school like room. Fushiguro is like, you need to stop them. If they open that, it's going to release a bunch of curses, because other curses can sense that energy, like the power, and will try and go eat Sukuna's fingers so that way they can get stronger, because if you eat Sukuna's fingers, it like enhances your power and basically makes you really strong, and you can like kill everyone or turn other people into curses, right? Fushiguro and Itadori meet, and Fushiguro's like, you need to stop your friends from opening that because it's gonna get other curses to come and kill them. And he's like, oh my god, holy And so he runs back to the school, and Fushiguro's like, you stay here, I'll go deal with it. And Itadori's like, no way, I am not doing that. I need to make sure that everyone has a proper death, because he doesn't want people to just be killed or just like die without being like happy like his grandfather did. So like, I need to make sure everyone has a proper death. So he runs there, he's like, I'm not letting my friends die. And long story short, Yuji ends up eating the finger and unleashes Sukuna. And Gojo comes and is like, relax. They decide that Itadori, since his body can withstand eating Sukuna's curse, and he can kind of like, Sukuna will go away and then come back and go away. The Jujutsu tech decides that Itadori will eat all 20 fingers, and then after that he will be executed, because then the King of Curses would be gone and they wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. So it goes through this story about Yuji finding all the fingers and eating them. This is still releasing, and there's so many other characters and so many other like side stories with it too. It's a really, really good anime. All of the characters are fleshed out. The women are written phenomenally. This, I would say, probably the best written women I have of any anime I've ever watched. Now, I haven't seen Sailor Moon, so I don't know, but every woman in this is a girl boss and doesn't need a man to do anything, and I love that about them. Like, they're written like actual women, you know what I mean, rather than like damsels in distress, and that makes me so happy. So women empowerment, I love it. Yes, I highly recommend that one. And then I will also go back and tell you how long everything is as well. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? This one, Ness and I only watched season 1 of, because we didn't really like season 2, but it's basically Belle is the main character of this show, and in this world you have gods or goddesses that kind of like take you to be on their team, like in their guild sort of thing, and like the goddess will like take care of you in like their big house and stuff like that, and you basically go into the dungeon and fight stuff. It's kind of like, it's very video game-esque, I will say. Belle has a goddess who is poor. They live in like this old broken down house. Belle goes into the dungeon and isn't really super strong until he meets this girl who saves him from a minotaur, and he ends up becoming like super strong because he's like, I want to impress this girl, she's beautiful, I love her. And he ends up becoming super strong, and it kind of goes through the story with that. The first season is absolutely amazing. Belle is a boss, and also there's a lot of girl bosses in it, and I like it a lot. So I recommend that one. I don't know if I recommend season 2 though, but I know season 1 is really good, and it's quite funny, and will have you a little enthralled. So the last one that we watched the least recently was 7 Deadly Sins. 7 Deadly Sins is about 7 deadly sins: pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and sloth. And so in this show there are 7 deadly sins, and at first they seem like the bad guys, but they're actually the good guys. And it starts off with the main character being, well, they're all kind of like, all the sins are kind of the main character. The one it starts off with is wrath, which is Meliodas, and then after that Deanne, who is envy, who is the sin of envy, and it goes through their story. It explains how they became one of the 7 deadly sins and things like that. It's also a little bit of a love story between Meliodas and Elizabeth, and also between Bon and Elaine, and then there's King. And it's cool because, at least like what I've seen previously, whenever 7 deadly sins are involved in an anime, they're usually the bad guys, and in this one they actually end up being the good guys.
This is a huge side note, but I was actually raised Catholic, and though I no longer practice Catholicism, the 10 commandments are actually in the show, and they are the ones trying to wreak havoc on everything. And I think that's a really cool take, because my entire life we were always told to avoid the 7 deadly sins and follow the 10 commandments, and I just think that it's cool that in this one the 10 commandments are actually bad. It's really, really cool. It's super great. You should definitely watch it. It's very funny too. I will say that sometimes I would like to drop kick Meliodas just occasionally. That one is still releasing too. Season 5 just released. It is a Netflix original, but it goes through the story of the 7 deadly sins, and they live in kind of like this like medieval world. You know what it gives me? If anyone's ever seen Fairy Tail, if you haven't seen Fairy Tail, it's good, you should watch it. It kind of gives me an adult version of Fairy Tail. Like Fairy Tail is very like, go friendship, the power of friendship, yeah, you know, which is fine, and that's great, and it's wonderful. It was the first anime I ever watched, and it has a special place in my heart because of it. There's not, I feel like, really any serious parts of Fairy Tail. This one is like a more grown-up version of Fairy Tail, like the same sort of style of stuff. I like it a lot. It's really good. I highly recommend that one. I think that those are all the ones that I have watched recently. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you want to see like more like this when I watch more anime, because I will totally do it. But I felt like it was a long overdue one. I haven't watched like too many, like obviously I don't have a list of like 100 or more that I've watched, but for me personally, I really like to like sit and enjoy and like kind of like bask in the brain rot of an anime. I also have I get anxiety when I watch too much at once. Like I tried watching Tokyo Revengers and I actually made myself anxious because I had watched Gate like
2 months before, so I kind of have to like sit in that brain rot for a while. So I hope that's okay with you guys, because that's how it's just how my brain works. I don't know. Let me go through and tell you how long all of these are now. So Escape the Infinity is a 12 episode anime. Sasaki and Miyano is a 12 episode anime. Some of these are not finished. I don't know if Sasaki and Miyano is finished. That one, I have no clue. Haikyuu is finished, and I think there will be a season 5. So far there is season 4. There is season 4. Oh, Skate is subbed and dubbed. Sasaki and Miyano is now subbed and dubbed. Haikyuu up to season 3 is subbed and dubbed. Season 4 is about to come out dubbed, I believe. Case Study of Vanitas, I think, has 48 episodes. I don't know. Google says it only has 24 episodes, but I've watched all 24 and I didn't see everything. Did I watch all 24 or did I watch all 12? I feel like I watched all 24. It's 24 to 48. Google says it's only 24. I could be wrong. I thought that there was 48, but I could be tripping. That's totally plausible. Bungo Stray Dogs is still releasing. It is only up to season 3. We don't know when season 4 is going to come out. 36. There's 36 episodes of Bungo, and it also has an OVA and a movie. I haven't watched the OVA or the movie, but like just like the base storyline has the actual like anime, like the anime episodes. The series has 36 episodes. Jujutsu Kaisen, I think, only has like 24 episodes now. Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon is 12 episodes, and 7 Deadly Sins, I don't know exactly how many episodes that is, because, oh, that's right, because this one doesn't have like the way 7 Deadly Sins does it is that their seasons like go almost by like arcs, but it's not 12 episodes in every arc. So for instance, season 2 was like 3 episodes. It was weird. It has 5 seasons, so with that one I don't know how many episodes there is. Okay, so for 7 Deadly Sins, the trigger warnings is Meliodas is a weirdo. He does some very weird stuff to Elizabeth, so if that's something that's going to make you uncomfortable, then please don't watch it. It is very weird. When I was watching it, I was thoroughly uncomfortable. Jujutsu Kaisen, I would say that the trigger warning is there's death and a lot of it. It's a bit gory too, like you will see blood. No, I don't think that there's any like big themes of abuse or anything. There's just a lot of death, things like that. It's like minor to major character deaths. Like a lot of people, I would say there are some major character deaths in it, especially if you read the manga and you know. So for Bungo Stray Dogs, there's a lot of trigger warnings. I know a lot of people don't consider this to be a heavier anime, but it really is. The trigger warnings is child abuse for almost all of the characters. Atsushi specifically goes through a lot of child abuse growing up because he grew up in an orphanage, and the orphanage director used to literally beat him and like that. There's child abuse for Akutagawa. There's child abuse for Dazai, I believe. Suicide is a humongous theme in this, like a huge, like Dazai is literally a suicidal maniac, so please be wary of that. He talks about it a lot. There is also a scene with suicide. It will make you sick if that's something that affects you. It affected me and I had to stop watching it for a couple of days because it made me sick. Also minor to major character deaths depending on if you read the manga. There is a minor character death in season 2, so please be aware of that. Atsushi has scars, like burn scars and things like that. There's a lot of blood and death. Minor character death, just like background character, there's a lot of death. They're detectives. Oh, and PTSD. I know that can be triggered for like IFC PTSD. I know that sometimes seeing stuff like that can trigger your PTSD. For anyone who does have that, please be aware of that. Atsushi, a lot of flashbacks and things like that. So Sasaki and Miyano doesn't have any trigger warnings. It's super wholesome and sweet. I don't think there's anything that anyone should be concerned about. I think that's like the sweetest one that I'm recommending. Skate the Infinity, I don't think a lot of people with trigger warnings on this one, but I think that there is, specifically with abuse with Adam, like the stuff that Adam went through when he was a kid, the way he abuses other people in the show, like Reki, Cherry and stuff like that. So it's not super heavy themes of abuse, like it's not centered around it, but there is a lot with Adam. He is a very questionable person. One of the trigger warnings for Skate is apparent death. Longest dad died prior to the show. You won't be seeing that in the show, but he does talk about it a lot, so if that's something that affects you, please be aware of that. I just want to let you guys know about those things before you start watching the show. I know a lot of time people just like recommend stuff and that's totally okay, but sometimes for me, I can get triggered by random things that usually aren't triggering for other people, and so I always want people to be aware of that before I recommend a show to them. Specifically, Bungo Stray Dogs was a show that I realized that I was recommending to people, and I was like, this is kind of dark. Like, this is like a really, it's a really heavy show. It's not something that's super like easy to watch if you have gone through the things that the characters have gone through. Even if you haven't, if you've seen someone go through it, or if you just are familiar with it, or just like anything like that. Like, I don't want someone to end up watching something because I talk about it all the time and I really like it, and it ends up making them upset. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will do more videos like this when I watch more anime in the future. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for letting me rant to you about the new anime that I have been watching and absolutely loving. It's great. I am a huge My Hero fan, and I loved all of these, so if you are a My Hero fan, you'll probably like these too. I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to check out any of the merch, I have My Hero merch, I have Skate the Infinity merch, I have Bungo Stray Dogs merch, and I have Genshin merch. You can check it out. You can click the link in my beacons. I think I said Cardco earlier. I meant beacons. I changed it to beacons recently. So you can check the link in my beacons. It's the second one that jumps, and it says Kavali Cosmos, and it will take you straight to the merch shop where you can get your Skate the Infinity design if you would like to. I mean, not on a skateboard because we don't have that available yet, but that would be cool. You can go get your merch there. Speaking of Twitch, I stream on there Tuesday through Saturday. I'm actually going to stream today. If you ever miss me, go over to my Twitch and I'm always there, or my TikTok or anything like that. So I love you guys so much. Remember to stay safe, you remember to drink water, and I'll see you in the next one. I really hope you enjoyed it. Bye! Saturn is behind a pillow currently. She is, do you see her? She is behind this pillow. This is her tail. You know what? I'm trying to film this YouTube video and it's like the universe doesn't want me to. Okay, so I am filming in my room because the lighting is better in here and it's like the morning time. I've been getting ready to film this video since 9 in the morning. Okay, 9 in the morning. I put my makeup on, I'm ready. I wrote down notes for this video. Notes, bro, notes. And I've had to go up and down the stairs 3 times because every tripod I take upstairs doesn't work. Saturn, please stop playing with that. And Kageyama, I was gonna say Kageyama Chaos. Kageyama Chaos from stream, I love you. Diona, my Genshin is showing. Deanne, that's her name. Having a fan and an overhead light in my room, one of the greatest things that's ever happened to me. I love it so much.